Hey guys, welcome back to Our Vision Farm. I wanted to do another update on how our little garden rows were doing. The last I left off, we put the weed barrier cloth in between and we topped off the areas that we want to plant with some pine shavings, just regular animal bedding that we bought from the animal store. And then we started kind of experimenting with hay. This was just leftover hay that the animals leave behind. Our cow and our sheep don't always eat all of the hay, so we decided to utilize that to put in between the rows. And we also came up with this idea. It was kind of an afterthought. We have so many feed bags that we go through, and we've thrown and burned so many, so I wish we would have kept those in the past months, but we decided to start keeping feed bags and using that as part of our row covers. Instead of buying more of this weed cloth, we can continue doing the whole garden with feed bags. The purpose of the feed bags is pretty much to just leave us a walkway space so we can walk and pick our crops whenever they grow, and the weeds won't pop up through the thickness of the feed bags. So I think it's actually going to be better off than this cheap weed barrier cloth. But either way, we already laid that down and we pinned it down with the little garden pins. And with the feed bags, all we're doing is weighing it down with some of the dirt and the sand from the garden. So I think that's going to work out best. I wanted to share that little tip with you guys. I'm not sure about deterioration, how long the feed bags take to kind of break down. But in the meantime, it's going to help a lot with keeping the weeds from growing in between these rows, resulting in less work for me to do. Now, the pine shavings and the hay have been working for weed control, but I have noticed the weeds do tend to pop up easier on the pine shavings than the hay. So it seems like the hay is a little bit more heavier and dense, and the weeds are popping up a little bit in the pine shavings. Even though we put a thick layer of pine shavings, you can still see them pop up, but it's way better than what it was before. I would have to pick weeds all the time and scrape down the weeds, and this has definitely helped in controlling that. And so I'm just going to keep doing the hay and the feed bag method until we finish this whole garden. But it has definitely cut down on my labor and my work. I don't have as many weeds popping up as the areas where I don't have anything yet. So I can say it has definitely worked so far. Now, I said last time that I was going to show you guys when I plant my transplants in here. Some of my transplants that I planted, what was it, like 2 weeks ago, they're just now starting to sprout. But we did go to a farmer's market and we found some starts that are already ready to go straight into the ground. So that's what I was planning on doing today in my little pine shaving rows. So I'm going to be planting those instead of the ones I started, but when mine get a little bit bigger, then I'll be planting them as well, and I should have at least another half of this garden ready. Another thing I am doing, which I really should have started a while ago, when we move to our future property, I'm definitely going to spend a good year to a year and a half building up our soil before attempting to plant, because I feel like we wasted so much time and so much money when we first moved into this property, bringing loads and loads of dirt in from like the company that's down the street from us. They sell like a mushroom compost mixed with garden topsoil. We wasted so much money on that and filling our gardens with that, and you really can't even see it. It just dissolves into the sand. It washes away with all the rain. The only spots that we still have it is whenever, like over there, we have the garden boxes. That's the only place you can really see that dirt. So I'm taking a different approach this year and trying to build up our soil, which is also why I did that with the hay and the pine shavings, because eventually that will continue to break down. So instead of purchasing more soil for us to plant in, what I'm doing is building up our soil with what is available in nature. So this is just hay and leaves that have fallen off this tree. It's about to be springtime, so the leaves on this will grow back, but we have so much leaves, little sticks, hay pieces, All this can break down eventually to build soil. There's also some manure in here from the cow. And what I'm going to do is continue to build my rows that I'm going to plant in with that. So I'm going to add a layer of that. I'm going to rake all this up. We have lots of bits and pieces of leaves. And then over here, we got some more hay that the cow just leaves behind. And on this side of our yard, we get lots of leaves dropping from these trees. I'm not sure what kind of trees these are, but they're the ones that have the little acorns. So all of this, and if you look under here, you can see that the dirt is good. It's dark dirt, it's not super sandy. It's because this naturally breaks down. So I'm going to be raking as much as I can. We have a bunch in the front yard too. And I'm just gonna be building up our soil with that. Kind of late in the game doing this, especially because we are planning on moving soon. But if we would have started that in 2016 when we first moved here, we would have so much better soil to work with right now. But it is what it is. Now we know for our future property, that's what we want to do. We pretty much want to utilize our pigs to do most of that work, to till our garden and start mixing the nutrients from the pig manure and all the scraps that the pigs eat. All that will help build the soil. And what we want to do is top off that area once we remove the pigs. Top it off with as much natural things as possible, leaves, twigs. People use mulch that they make themselves with a grinder that you can rent, or we're planning on purchasing one for ourselves because I think we'll definitely use it a lot. But I'm also using that type of system with our garden boxes. I know I mentioned it before. We started filling up these garden boxes that we moved in here with all kinds of stuff. You can see chicken poop in there, leaves, some sticks, everything that we clean out of the garden we toss in here, we layer it. These are just hay and leftover things that I take out of the chicken coop. So we're lining the bottom of our boxes with cardboard and then filling it up with all this natural material that will eventually break down into dirt that's good enough to plant in. So I'm just doing that for like a good year. Who knows if we move out of here before that, but we're doing that for a year, and that should give us enough soil. Even if at the end we just have to top it off with soil brought in, it still saves us a lot of money, and it results in better soil for the plants because it's natural compost that's just breaking down. And we also save our own compost, any kitchen scraps, cardboard, some old food, anything that's not meat pretty much that we have left over, we put inside of a trash bin. And every now and then we mix it up with a shovel. I know there's better ways of doing that too. You could have actual compost bin. Some people like to just put it in a pile and let the chickens run through it and mix it up for you. But we just keep it in this trash can over here. And over time that just breaks down into soil as well. So this we've done ever since we moved here. But what I wish I would have done was do the layering, putting the leaves and all that. So here's just some rotting food that will eventually turn into compost. So I try to keep that covered up. So yeah, just wanted to share that little tip. It has different names for it. It could be called no-till gardening, back to Eden method. There's lots of terms and little differences between all of them, but this is definitely what I plan on doing. Hey Ashley. In our future farm, before planting our first plant, I want to at least for a year work on our garden, improving the soil and just layering things, layering natural material, until we see that nice dark rich soil, which is so hard to get here in Florida. But if you go into the woods in there, you look at the dirt and it's pure black soil. And it's all thriving back there and nobody is taking care of it. So it's only natural. I just wish we wouldn't have wasted so much time and money ordering truckloads of dirt, and you can't even tell. Our plot is still sandy. It's still lacking of a lot of nutrients. So I'm hoping, at least while the remainder of time we're here, we never know what God's plans are, I'm going to improve the soil either for ourselves or for whoever is going to live here in the future. But I definitely want to do this when we move to a bigger property. And if you're just in the start of homesteading or just looking for your property, I definitely recommend taking a good year to start building up your soil, and then worry about planting. Worry about the other projects that you have to do first. And if you really want to plant immediately, build yourself some garden boxes and fill it up with your purchased soil. And that way the garden boxes hold all your dirt in. Whereas in putting it somewhere like this, it just washes away with the rain and it just kind of disappears, sinks into the ground, and it's not there anymore. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to collect as much as I can today, continue to layer it. I have some more feed bags that I can use for that, and some more leftover of that weed barrier cloth. So I'm going to try to get it to half the garden complete today, and I'm going to plant my starters, which I will show you really quick. We got some assorted little veggies, and the stuff that I planted started to sprout. I'm keeping it in here. So this is what we bought from the farmer's market. Let me try to get in here. We have some kale. I bought some thyme. I'm not sure if I'm going to plant it back there or if I'm going to plant it up here in our herb garden. And some peppers. And then here is what I had planted. These are cabbage. And I think these were peppers or tomatoes. They just started to sprout today, so I'm not sure what it is quite yet. And then right here we have cucumbers. So this still needs a little bit of time. This is what I said I was going to plant in there. But for now I'm going to get started on that. That way I have something going in there. And once everything else is ready, that should be more than enough to fill the rest of that garden. So I'll keep you guys updated. So far so good. It's working out for the purpose of controlling the weeds, and that's what I wanted. Eventually that will break down. Like I said, it will break down into better soil, but for now it's serving the purpose of acting as a weed barrier, and also it holds in the moisture as well. So when I water this garden, the sprinkler that I set up, it's not just going to evaporate from the sun. The mulching with the hay and with the pine shavings, or any type of mulch, if you have wood chips or whatever mulch you want to use, it helps with keeping the soil wet underneath and keeping your plants from drying out too fast, especially now that it's about to be really warm in Florida. Right now it's a good temperature, but when it gets really warm, you can water and then an hour later everything's just crispy dry again. So I look forward to seeing how it works for us, especially this summer. And I'm going to keep you updated. This is just the second update of this little project that we started. And we have 2 other gardens. I'm trying to keep things simple for myself this year. We removed one garden over there that wasn't doing very good, but we kept this one because it's mostly made out of boxes. And we kept the one that's over here next to our shed shop. It also has some garden boxes, but what I did this year, because I didn't want to worry too much about the weeds in here, I planted pumpkin plants. So there's like spaghetti squash in here, butternut pumpkin. So there's one plant right there. There's one back there next to that, in front of that post that's on the ground. There's another one here in what used to be our strawberry garden, behind those twigs that you see sticking up. So what I expect from those is for this whole entire garden to be covered by the pumpkins, because pumpkins or any type of squash like that is very invasive, and I want it to take over this whole garden, so that is one less garden for me to have to worry about weeding and doing too much work in for today, or not for today, for this year. And I can put on all my efforts into the other two gardens, especially that big one in the back, because my goal this year is to grow enough food for our family and also hopefully have some extra to sell, because the more I can sell this year from our farm, the more money that we can save up for a future farm, and that's our goal, to make as much profit as possible, so we can afford and save up for the down payment on our future farm. So that's why I'm really working on the gardens this year. Usually I start slacking when it starts getting too hot, but this year my goal is to keep it going and grow as much as possible. So thank you guys for watching this update. If you noticed, I've created playlists on our channel, so I kind of categorized everything so it's easier to follow. I made a playlist for just gardening videos, which is what this video will go on. I made a playlist for anything that's hatching related or incubating eggs. I left my farm video playlist. That's for all general updates on the farm and animal updates, animal videos, and also with the pasture raised chicken operation, I will have a playlist with all videos of that. As you can see, we still got our little projects going on back here. So I categorized everything in playlists so it's easier to follow along. If you're specifically interested in one topic, it'll be easier to follow me that way. Right, buddy? Alright, so I'm going to get back to work and finish that up. And later on today we're going to be working on this as well, but that'll be a different video for that playlist. So thanks again for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, because I will be posting more often, and continue to follow our journey, especially as we continue to expand and hopefully find a bigger property in the future. But in the meantime, we're making it work with this one, and we are blessed that we have 5 acres here in Florida. We're able to do things all year round with our climate, so we are more than blessed in where we're at right now. We're just hoping for the best for the future, hoping that God has something better in store for us, and we can just figure out the rest of the things that we want to do for the rest of our lives. We want to have something to pass down to our kids, and we want to make farming our full-time job, me and my husband's, because right now it's kind of a side thing for me, plus my Beet Sweets business. But my husband would really love to be able to farm full-time along with our family. So that is our ultimate goal, to be able to make all of our income needed for our family from our farm. Truly living off the land and being able to provide healthy food for the community as well, and giving them just the farm experience that we love giving them right now. So if you're interested in following along that journey, just continue to support us, watch our videos, comment, let us know what else you want to see. Sometimes I run out of ideas for videos, but you guys are a lot of help in asking questions and showing me what you're interested in seeing more of. So with that said, I hope you guys have an awesome week. I hope you're able to achieve all of your goals that you have set out for yourselves as well. And I will see you guys in the next video.